The movie kicks off with a grim diagnosis. Mr. Tario learns from a doctor that his inoperable tumor has grown larger, giving him little time left to live. Mr. Tario confides in his driver about his limited lifespan. With a deep sense of regret, he spoke of his son's nonchalant attitude towards life, expressing concern about his wayward path. Ajiro, his driver, tried to cheer him up and reminded Mr. Tario that despite the constraints of time, there were still meaningful actions he could take to positively influence his son's life and mend their relationship. Mr. Tario's son, Kolade, is a race driver who was hanging out with his friends when he remembered that he was late for a meeting. Kolade arrived at the meeting late when the presentation was over, so his father, Mr. Tario, told his manager that Kolade will make a presentation the next day. After the meeting, Kolade extended an invitation to his father to attend his race that evening. However, his father reminded him about his upcoming presentation the following day. Sadly, when the time for the race event arrived, Collade's father did not show up. The next day, Collade in turn failed to show up for his presentation, instead opting for a risky encounter involving drugs. While he was hanging out with his friends, their gathering was raided by the police, resulting in the arrest of Collade and his companions. His father bailed him out, and as they sat in the car having a conversation about the incident, Collade spoke rudely to his father, provoking a strong reaction. In the heat of the moment, his father slapped him, and Collade, angered by the confrontation, stormed out of the car. Mr. Tario inadvertently left his phone in the car and headed to his office. His dedicated driver, Ajiro, retrieved the phone for him, but couldn't help but notice the sadness etched on Mr. Tario's face. Determined to brighten his employer's day, Ajiro fetched a drink and suggested a game of table tennis. As they engaged in friendly competition, a break was taken when Mr. Tario suddenly began to feel nauseous. During this respite, they started discussing Collade, with Ajiro suggesting that if Collade could spend a week in the tough neighborhood of Ajegunle, where they both grew up, he would gain valuable life lessons. Collade was at home when one of his father's employees arrived at his house. She had been unable to reach him on the phone and came in person to deliver the tragic news that his father had passed away. Following Mr. Tario's funeral, the family and relevant parties gathered at the lawyer's office for the reading of the will. Mr. Tario had bequeathed his entire estate to his son, Collade. However, there was a unique condition attached to this inheritance. Mr. Tario had recorded a video stipulating that Collade must endure a challenging test. He had to spend 7 days in the tough neighborhood of Ajegunle without external assistance before he could claim his inheritance. In the event of Collade refusing or failing to complete this task, the company would instead go to Bassi, Mr. Tario's manager. Collade vehemently expressed his unwillingness to undertake this demanding challenge. Frustrated and upset, he stormed off, despite Ajiro's attempts to calm him down and find a resolution. Bassi seized the first available opportunity to terminate Ajiro's employment. Collade was at his home, indulging in smoking and drinking, when he suddenly realized he couldn't cover the cost of his drinks. Puzzled by this, he made a call to inquire about his financial situation and was informed that Bassi had halted all transfers to his account. Upon visiting the office to speak with Bassi, Collade observed that Bassi had taken drastic actions since Mr. Tario's death. Many of the workers had been let go, and to Collade's surprise, Bassi had claimed his father's office as his own. Furious and unable to tolerate Bassi's insults and claims to his company, Collade lashed out and slapped Bassi. In response, Bassi promptly summoned security to throw Collade out of the premises. Collade called the lawyer to accept the challenge. The lawyer accompanied him to Ajegunle and explained the conditions. Collade must remain there for a week without receiving assistance from anyone outside the neighborhood. The lawyer suggested he seek help from Ajiro, his father's former driver, but Collade declined. In the end, the lawyer secretly provided Collade with some money and advised him to find a hotel in Ajegunle to wait out the 7-day period. Collade bid farewell to the lawyer, leaving him all alone in Ajegunle. He began inquiring about where to find a hotel, but he found that people were consistently ignoring his questions and requests for assistance. His fortunes took a dark turn when a lady offered to take him to a hotel. However, he grew skeptical about the direction she was leading him. Despite his doubts, she insisted that this was indeed the way to the hotel. To his shock and dismay, she guided him into a den of thugs who promptly robbed him of all his money and subjected him to a brutal assault. As he pondered his misfortune, he noticed someone observing him. Confronting the mysterious onlooker, he was met with a chilling warning that he has been watched. If he leaves Ajegunle, it would jeopardize his chances of inheriting the company. However, this brief reprieve took a sour turn when he encountered a girl with a soft drink, her father engrossed in a phone call. He politely requested a sip, which she granted, but his thirst led him to finish the entire drink. This act led to a confrontation with the girl's father, resulting in a beating. Tired and helpless, he recognized his only option was to find Ajiro, his beacon of hope. He inquired about Ajiro from some locals, but they insulted him and discarded their marijuana and left. Kolade picked it up and was smoking it when a police car passed by. They chased him. He was captured and subsequent beating by fellow inmates upon arrival at the police station. In an unexpected twist, he crossed paths with Tega, Ajiro's son, who recognized him. Ajiro arrived to bail out his son, Tega, and was surprised when his son said Kolade was in the cell. He eventually bailed Kolade and brought him home. Kolade, still reeling from the traumatic events, found solace in Ajiro's niece, Erfe, who provided him with food and clothing. Ajiro decided to show Kolade the ropes of Ajegunle, unveiling the charitable endeavors of Kolade's late father in the community. A chance encounter with the little girl who recognized him shed light on the ordeal he had faced. Meanwhile, Basi, driven by greed, sought to secure the company's future but learned of Kolade's presence in Ajegunle. He enlisted the services of a ruthless thug, Croker, to track down and eliminate Kolade. Erfe, determined to help, suggested showing Kolade around town, leading to a dangerous encounter with Croker's henchmen. In a thrilling pursuit, Kolade and Erfe barely escaped, thanks to Kolade's racing skills. Back home, Ajiro resolved to take matters into his own hands. Despite facing threats from local thugs, Ajiro remained resolute in protecting Kolade. Desperate to shield Kolade from harm, Ajiro orchestrated a plan to hide him in a mental hospital with the help of a friend. Meanwhile, Basi increased Croker's bounty to eliminate Kolade, setting the stage for a tense confrontation. Kolade found an unlikely ally in a fellow patient who revealed Ajiro's transformative life story. As tensions escalated, Ajiro's son, Tega, became embroiled in a perilous situation when he was lured to sneak out of the house to secretly meet with a girl he admired. Ajiro received a distress call, learning that Tega has been kidnapped, and was tasked with delivering Kolade as ransom. Erfe was dispatched to the psychiatric hospital to be with Kolade in hiding. When Erfe told Kolade what was going on, Kolade decided to approach Croker to negotiate a truce. Ajiro, on the other hand, confronted Croker in a high-stakes showdown, with Basi waiting in the wings. As the situation spiraled out of control, they embarked on a frantic escape through a crowded place, hotly pursued by Croker and his henchmen. Amidst the chaos, Basi disclosed a shocking revelation. He had been involved in an altercation with Kolade's father, which had led to Mr. Teo's fatal heart attack. Basi also admitted to searching Mr. Teo's computer after his death and sending the video to the Mr. Teo's lawyer so he could get the company. As Kolade was being forcibly taken away to be killed, a pivotal moment unfolded when the brave young girl whose soft drink he had shared courageously threw a stone at Croker, inciting the anger of the crowd. When Croker slapped her, the crowd attacked Croker and his men. This courageous intervention played a crucial role in saving Kolade from death. Filled with gratitude for her timely intervention, Kolade sincerely expressed his heartfelt thanks to the little girl and the crowd. Upon completing the 7 days challenge, Ajiro made the decision to accompany Kolade back home. During this parting moment, Kolade told Erfe of his desire to see her again, suggesting the possibility of a future relationship. In this story, responsibility, redemption, empathy, and character take precedence over riches, demonstrating how personal development and community backing can pave the way for favorable transformations. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share.